Did you guys?
Yeah,
We're good.
Good?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good.
So I guess I'll start then. So welcome to the electrical engineering stream. So there's 4 of us here that'll be doing an intro on kind of answering questions about electrical engineering. So I'm Amanda. I'm in 3rd year of electrical and biomedical engineering.
I'm Sarah, and I'm also in 3rd year of electrical and iBioMed.
And I'm Yasmin, and I'm in 2nd year of electrical and biomedical engineering.
I'm Maria, and I'm also in 2nd year.
So I guess we'll start by answering the questions. So Andrew's going to read them to us, and then we'll go through and answer the questions as they come.
Oh, so I'm not, but there is a guideline that you guys can follow.
I can just read them out if you want, Amanda.
Okay.
Okay, so we've introduced ourselves. So if you guys want, we can share some of our hobbies and stuff like that. If you guys, Amanda, take it away.
So like hobbies in terms of like hobbies outside of school, I like cake decorating and building these like fancy cakes. So it's kind of like civil engineering, but with like cake and fondant. And I've been recently getting into leather making, so I recently made myself a purse. So those are some of my interesting hobbies that I like to do.
Cool. Okay. I really like to volunteer, so I'm in a couple of groups like Best Buddies and the ECE Society and things like that. So yeah, just a lot of like school things. Yasmin?
Me, usually, I just like hunt for music.
Okay.
I like exploring, just update my music playlist, I guess. And Netflix.
Same.
Myself, I like to do calligraphy and stuff. I sometimes like to draw, depends on the day. But and I also like to read, nothing too special.
Okay, so do you guys want to each like take a turn to talk about why we chose electrical? I guess I can start. So one of the reasons that I chose electrical was because it's, first of all, if we think back to before iBio was a thing, elec and biomedical engineering has been around at Mac for a number of years. So for me, I just kind of knew that electrical made sense with biomedical, and there was already kind of some pre-existing courses. So I was kind of interested in that it had already been sort of established. And I also was interested in the fact that not only do you just do like hands-on things with circuits and stuff like that, you still get the coding and software experience, which is something that I definitely wanted to incorporate, but I didn't think that I could just do just coding. So I just wanted to like kind of a mix of things. So that was like one big determinant for me.
I guess I'll go next. So I didn't really know. I know a lot of the first years that have talked to me before would say, I always said electrical is the course that I did not want to do. But after talking with Dr. DeBruin and Dr. Noseworthy, I kind of learned more about what it actually entails and how it actually relates to the biomed applications. And for me, I really liked doing, wanted to do like neurology and stuff, or do like robotic prosthetics. So that you have to learn how to take like an electrical signal from the body and then integrate it, and electrical engineering made the most sense at that point. And like the brain itself is just one big electrical circuit, so I was like, it kind of gives me the best basis to understand how that works. So that was the main reason why I chose electrical.
For me, I kind of had it narrowed down between 3 streams. That was like Eng Phys, electrical, and mechanical. But like I slowly like crossed one off my list. So like for Eng Phys, I thought it was like way too theoretical for me, and I liked more hands-on stuff. So I kind of like took off Eng Phys right off the bat. So I was left with electrical and mechanical. But like when I found out like mechanical doesn't have as much coding as electrical, I kind of shifted to electrical right away. And like just like Sarah said, electrical and biomedical was already like a pre-established program, so I knew it was already a good program, and it already had like its foundation. So I did electrical regardless of your EO3 marks, guys. I did horrible in that course, but I did.
No one does well in EO3.
Definitely, but so I chose electrical regardless.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar to everyone. I wasn't super sure about what I wanted to do, but I knew what I didn't want to do. So I had already had some streams like crossed off my list. But I think in the end, what really interested me was the fact that electrical is kind of more hands-on, and I really enjoyed the little coding we did in first year. And I knew I for sure was not like I wasn't software wasn't for me. I'm not like that amazing at it, but it was for sure something I still wanted to pursue. So electrical was kind of that nice middle ground for me.
Yeah. So the next question is, what has been your experience in the discipline? So there's sub questions. So I'm just going to ask each of you one of the sub questions. Okay. Okay. So Amanda, what has your experience been with like the type of courses that we've done? So like lab-based, lecture-based, inquiry-based.
So for electrical itself, you do a lot of lab work. So I think with pretty much all of the elect courses, you take some sort of lab component. So even courses like FH4, which isn't entirely lab-based, you still do have some experience where you're working with MATLAB or doing some sort of coding or other application other than just writing tests and doing that kind of stuff. So it is very hands-on in that sense. And as you go up, it gets even more hands-on. The project, you can start to do more and more projects.
Yeah. And like just to add on to that, like a lot of our courses have labs that not only you have to do in school, like you would take components home and like actually have to work with them on your own with your own breadboard, like at your house. So like it's a lot of hands-on things, and you get to like get that aspect, I find. And I guess we can all just kind of comment on the schedule and logistics of our calendar. So I mean, I'd say our schedule is like pretty typical of like a typical engineering student, but we do have a lot of labs and a lot of like at-home stuff as well, I would say. But what do you guys think?
I think one thing that's flexible about especially the like the ECE labs, is they're not, some of them, not all of them, but some of them are like every other week.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you a chance to like kind of rest some weeks, because we do tend to have like anatomy labs. We have like usually 2 ECE labs that would, if it's first term, you would have it like every week, like Elec Eng 2CI5 would be every week, but like in second term, they're more like every other week, so that like gives flexibility to your schedule, and I enjoyed that.
We could talk about the faculty members, what we like and what we don't like. I mean, I know we talked a little about this before, but for the majority, I'd say that we have some really good professors in ECE, and you can really tell how passionate they are about what they study. And they're also, you know, for the most part, really understanding, and they are willing to get to know you and like talk to you like after class, during class, like they learn your name and things like that. So that's something I really liked about Elec. But what do you guys?
Yeah, I felt like the professors actually care about us and want us to succeed. Like, a very, I feel like, obvious example is Backer. So was our circuits professor for first semester and electromagnetism for second semester. And like, he makes you really enjoy the content, even tough content. And he for sure wants you to succeed. And he gives you a lot of opportunities to be able to do well in his courses.
Yeah, seriously.
I
Such a nice
definitely agree.
Yes.
Yeah, and he wants to get you involved, so he'll entice you with chocolate and little hieroglyphic paintings. So he really, they want to get you involved, and they want to get you so that you're experiencing it and not just sitting there being like talked to. They want you to try and get involved so you have a better understanding.
This one is stream features, benefits, and support. I don't really know. It says like exclusive lounges or events. I mean, we do have like the ECE Society, so like they run events for the lower year like elect, like and upper year elect things. So they have like midterm reviews and stuff like that. Other than that, what other things do we have that elect kids do?
I like that we have access to the lab. Like, we all have like the white card, like, you know, the same as your hatch card. We have access to our labs outside of lab hours, which is super nice. I guess because like me and my friends, sometimes we like to like test our own circuits if we're doing like our own projects, or like for a project course where you have to do it like at home, but we want to like, let's say, use the oscilloscope in the lab. We can just go in outside of lab hours and like just do it. So that's really nice.
Yeah, I agree. What about this question is capacity for or effectiveness in blending biomedical engineering and health sciences with your chosen stream?
I think it's probably one of the most applicable streams to go into, because as I was saying, like the human brain, the whole body is just like one big electrical circuit. And even when you go up and you take courses like 3A and other courses, you'll learn that like you'll learn about how the body conducts the electricity, and like you'll just see they use examples of like the membranes and stuff and the electrical potentials as circuits themselves. So you'll learn and see how similar electrical engineering is to the body. I'd say it's probably one of the most, I guess, it has the most analogies to it. Like you could say like a hard drive or something is similar to a brain, like very similar. There's a lot of different ways you can compare them. I think they're very relatable.
Yeah, and then that goes on to like just like a lot of our upper year iBio courses were like adapted from pre-existing Elect Bio courses. And so like 3AO3, which is biomedical signals and systems, there's a like adjacent one that electrical kids have to take. So just like there is a lot of similarities, and so it is pretty applicable. And that goes on to like the workforce and stuff like that, like co-ops as well. And we can probably talk about that later on in the stream. Another question that they have is, what do you like or dislike about your program? Were you considering any other stream? And if so, what guided your decision? Is there anything else you wish you knew before choosing your stream? What do you guys think?
I would say for me, I was probably most interested in either chemical, Tron, HESI, or electrical. And electrical is probably one of the lower ones down at the beginning. But after learning about how it could relate to the biomedical systems, like it just had a lot of similarities, I found that was probably the best route for me to go. I was thinking about chemical, but in the long run, I decided like I would have probably done more pharmaceuticals, but I was more interested in like medical devices and stuff rather than, and robotic stuff rather than chemical and like that kind of tech, like chemical makeups and stuff and processing. So I decided to go away from chemical. I decided I wanted to do that biomedical engineering stream because I decided like I wanted to go into med school, but I decided that if I didn't go to med school, then I would have an area or like a backup plan that would get me still something that I was interested in and doing the medical devices. And I could still get a good job there. Whereas that was probably my main things that kind of lined up the most with what I wanted to do in the end. And then, like I said before, De Bruin kind of sealed the nail in the coffin. So if you're really interested in Elect, talk to De Bruin. He will convince you even more.
Do you guys have anything you want to add on? Just like why you picked Elect, or what you like, what you don't like?
For me, I already talked about it, so I don't want to take too much time. So I'm going to pass it over to Maria if she has anything to say.
Not really. I mean, I already mentioned about like software and etc. and like codings.
Right. Okay. This point, we can share whatever information we want. So, for example, any interesting opportunities that your stream has provided you with, like exchange programs, network in the healthcare system. We can talk about co-ops that we've done. And yeah, I think let's just focus on those. So like co-op and just like opportunities that we've had. If you guys, who wants to go first? Anyone?
Amanda can go.
Okay, I'll go. So I haven't actually done any co-ops yet. I was supposed to be doing a co-op in Germany this summer, doing research with that implemented machine learning to help understand and interpret a new like imaging devices for surgery. But use this imaging called hyperspectral imaging. So it actually really applied quite well to electrical engineering because basically the hyperspectral imaging part was it basically uses the electromagnetic spectrum. So it was very applicable, and then you learn a lot more coding as you go up in further years. So it basically allowed me to use those skills and the information that we learned in our courses to kind of tie it to a biomedical aspect. However, I didn't get to do it because it was canceled for COVID-19. So that's my closest experience doing it so far.
What about you guys? Maria?
I personally have not done a co-op yet, but I do know a lot of people. I think that electrical's nice because it also does give you, as I've mentioned, some knowledge in like comp eng and like coding and stuff. And obviously it's not as in depth as you would go in software, but it is something that I know that some people have been able to work really hard in, and also using the knowledge that we've learned in class. And I know that there's a lot of people that have been able to get more software-based positions with our degree.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for me, I did a co-op right out of first year. So I did research with Dr. Fang in the engineering physics department. So I was basically just like a programmer / lab assistant. I used like my work was mostly like programming microcontrollers to control sensors. I think most of you guys know Dr. Fang. He has very cool research, so don't be afraid to reach out to him to do any research with him. I also did research also like throughout second year as well, but my second research I did with like a mechanical engineering professor. So I did with Dr. Cheryl Quenville, and that research was, so my research was basically focused on designing a lower robotic leg that would simulate gait patterns of like normal gait patterns and altered ones for children with cerebral palsy. And that one I actually got to collaborate with a Forge startup on, so that was very cool. And I also have another co-op coming up this May. It's actually a 12-month co-op, so I will be taking a year off school. How sad, but it's also fun. I will be actually working at McMaster as an instructional assistant intern. So for the new first year course,
1P13?
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool. So yeah,
That's
you
me.
definitely have a lot of experience. And then for me, I've done 2 co-op terms. So my first co-op term was like not biomedical at all. So I was working at an automotive industry like company, and basically working in the environmental test lab. So running different tests on like parts that were being designed and then later going to be implemented into self-driving cars. So that's one cool thing is like with electrical and biomedical, you can still do like electrical based jobs, and it's not like you're limited to just working like in a specifically biomedical field. But then at the same time, you're able to also apply that. So like this summer, I'm supposed to be working, if it's not canceled because of COVID, I'm supposed to be working at a company that makes hearing aids. So I'll be working on the software quality assurance team. So just testing out the software that they're writing for the like to amplify the sound for the hearing aid. So that should be good. So like there's definitely a lot of opportunities out there, and I think that's one thing that's really beneficial to electrical is that like there's definitely a lot of opportunities specifically in the biomedical field if that's what you're interested in. And like you can work in that field and do software, you can work in that field and do more hardware things, like you're not limited to certain like aspects. So that's something that I found really cool about it. But yeah, what else? Let me look what other questions there are. We can talk about a favorite course of ours and how we think it's made us more passionate about the discipline, if you guys have anything for that.
Is it like the electrical discipline or like the biomedical discipline?
I guess electrical.
I guess I could start. I think my favorite course was like first semester we took Introduction to Electrical Engineering, which is Elec Eng 2CI5. And I feel like going into the course and seeing that the course was like 5 units, it kind of like, I was kind of freaking out. I was like, I don't know circuits. I did really bad in EO3, like the circuit part. I'm not going to do really well. But since, as Maria mentioned, Dr. Becker was teaching the course, he is honestly an amazing prof and he teaches with passion. So when you're sitting like in the classroom, you kind of feel like that passion is also like going into you. So like you just get as passionate as he is when he's teaching. So I feel like that's one course that made me realize I chose the right stream.
Yeah, he's like one of the best profs in Elec. And
Definitely.
he's also he teaches like a second semester course as well. Like he teaches so many courses in Elec. He's teaching a third year one next year, I think, as well. 3FK4, which is electromagnetics 2, I think.
Exciting.
Yeah, so he's like one of the best profs and he's really, really good. So I can fully agree with that statement that he actually has like really reinstilled like liking electrical. Does anyone else like have a course that they really enjoyed or anything?
Oh, sorry, go. Okay, so, oh my gosh.
Okay, you can go.
Okay, so for me, it's kind of a toss up between two courses, but they're both in second semester. I really enjoyed, or I'm really enjoying, because I guess we're still learning right now. No matter how. Anyway, so I really enjoy electromagnetism, which is really surprising because I did incredibly bad in EO3, like incredibly bad. So if you guys are not doing that great, don't let that necessarily deter you from the stream, because I did really bad and I'm still enjoying the courses. I feel like I'm understanding a lot more. And a big part of it is, like how everyone has mentioned, the professors themselves. And then the second course that I like is SI4. So that's our second semester computer engineering course. And it's like algorithms, data structure, discrete math. It's not really that much math, but either way. I really enjoy that course. I never really considered myself to be someone I still don't consider myself to be someone that's really that amazing at computer engineering, but I think the content is really interesting. And this year we have a new professor and he's really good. Like you can tell that he really cares about teaching the students. And so it really transfers over to like when you're learning, because it makes you want to learn more. And it's actually really interesting content. And I feel like it's very applicable to many things that may be done. So I would say those are my two favorites.
I was gonna say my favorite is one that I guess the second years wouldn't have taken. You take it in third year. Is probably DI4. So that one, it basically it takes you completely away of what you've learned in like 1 EO3 and any of the second year courses, and you move away from the analog circuits to the digital circuits. So I really liked what we did with the digital circuits, because you're able then to start programming things. And it sounds really funny, but at first you just start programming it so that when you turn a light on, certain patterns will happen. But as you get more and more detailed and you learn about how the data, like how the, just say the power, or if it's a high or low, like a 1 or a 0, how that's stored, so that you can go from one thing to another. So you can kind of start to see how you take information and it's applied to things like motors. So for example, like an electrical toothbrush, there's the different stages, and you have to like program it so that it turns on and off and goes to certain speeds. So I really like that because you could start to see physical applications of what you're learning being applied. So I really liked, that was my favorite course probably that we've taken, and it's gotten me excited.
Another question is, how project-based is electrical? So I guess I can talk about third year. So aside from the iBio, because in iBio we have to do our 3PO4, which is everyone will have to take that. We also have this other course called Comp Eng 2DX4. And Amanda, you could probably help me explain this one because I don't know what I'm doing for the project at this moment. But essentially, we're working with microcontrollers and programming and C, Python, right? Now they're making us use Python as well. And then, oh my God, I'm forgetting the other language. We've been using it all semester.
Java?
I'm forgetting the name. Anyways, whatever. We're programming microcontrollers. Yeah, and basically, do you want to tell them like what the project is supposed to do in the end, like what we're even trying to build, because I couldn't even tell someone.
Yeah. So basically, in second year or in second year of iBio, third year, you take the 2DX4, and basically the whole project is to build this LiDAR machine. So basically, it's supposed to just take a time of flight distance sensor and then an IMU, and then you're supposed to use those to be able to map and kind of get a 3D visualization of the area around you. So we attach it to a motor to get like a 360-degree view, and it's supposed to just map out everything around you kind of thing. So that's what we're doing. It is the first year that they did the project, so that's something that future years will get to experience, and they are starting to bring more and more project courses in because they are seeing how valuable they are to learning. So I think Elect does have a lot of project courses, and even in other courses like EI5, you're still doing projects. You don't have as many projects in second year, but as you go up, you get more and more projects.
What else? Do you guys have anything else you want to add, or?
I mean, second year, other than our iBio courses, we don't really have that much that's project-based. But as everyone else mentioned before, we do have a lot of labs. So in some sense, that's kind of like a mini project. So you do learn quite a bit from the labs, and the TAs are actually really helpful, which was very different than my experience in physics in first year. So it's nice to have TAs that are actually because most of them are master's students, so they really know what they're talking about, and I've found that they're really helpful at explaining things, and that has helped me a lot.
Did we already talk about what kind of career we're looking to do after we graduate? I don't think we did. Okay, do you guys want to go around and say what we want to do?
I already touched on mine. After, I hope to go to med school, but if I don't, then I'd like to work in the biomedical field, doing like some sort of medical devices, either something to do with like neurological devices or prosthetics.
For me, I think my idea like going into like biomedical engineering was like I wanted to specialize either like in medical imaging or prosthetics at the end. But I feel like now that I'm in school, like my idea kind of shifted now that I want to like pursue teaching in academia. So I want to be a prof. Hopefully one day get my PhD.
Oh, that's really cool. Maria?
I'm not necessarily dead set on anything. I'm very aware that I'm only in second year, and I don't even know a quarter of the knowledge that I know. And so I'm really aware that there's a lot of things I'm going to learn and things that I'm potentially going to very much like. That being said, I do really enjoy kind of the idea of the biomedical aspects. We haven't had such a big kind of introduction with electrical engineering and biomedical mixed in together in second year as of yet. I think in third year we do a bit more, but I do find that idea really interesting. So that could be something I'm potentially really interested in pursuing.
And yeah, for me, I think I just kind of want to get into medical devices. So I've been really interested in like medical robotics and stuff like that. But again, like I haven't actually had experience doing that, so I'm not 100% sure. But hopefully through my co-ops, I want to like really see what the industry itself is like and, you know, see if that's really what I want to do. But I definitely just want to get involved with medical devices somehow. But yeah, we'll definitely have to see. But do you guys want to just go into like the general question thingy? Okay. So these are just going to be some like general questions that were submitted to the form that we'll all just answer. So in engineering streams, how's the workload compared to first year?
I'm just going to go ahead and say that I found it a lot more work and a lot harder than in first year. That's not to say I think the content itself I enjoy more. I find it a lot more interesting. That are things that I find that I can actually apply to concepts better for myself. But I'm not going to lie and say it's necessarily easy because it is tough. There's some very hard courses and everything all together can be difficult, but that's not to say that it's impossible and that you can't do it.
Yeah, It definitely is a big jump. Like, well, even going from high school to university, I found to be like a big jump, but I definitely found second year, specifically second semester with anatomy and everything, to be pretty hard. But again, yeah, it's just like learning how you learn and like how to get information to yourself most effectively. And I think you just kind of get used to it and find effective ways to study and stuff like that. But I did also find it to be a lot harder than first year. I don't know about you guys.
The one thing I would say that was easier or at least more relaxed was the labs. So at least in EO3, you're like super stressed to get it done on time and like you're freaking out and it's like you just scramble. Whereas the labs were so relaxed. So you'd go in at 2:30 and you'd sometimes be done at like 4, 3:30 if it was early. And they were really, really relaxed. In second year, in third year, they get a bit more whatever, but they're more, I personally found them more exciting, and you're doing more. So I think the labs are definitely better than what they were in first year.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So this is another question. When choosing streams, should I overlook just a little bit second and third year if the upper year courses and applications of a stream really interest me, compared to a stream that I'd be okay with throughout, but was just not as exciting to me?
I would say yes. I would say yes because usually the first year or two, you have to learn the foundation before you can actually start to get into the exciting stuff. So personally, like as we've gone up and we've done our courses, I have seen that things do get more interesting as they go up. So if like what you're really passionate about is in those upper year courses, if you can get through the first couple, then it's okay. I'd say though, if there's like more than 3 or 4, like 2 or 3 that you're kind of iffy about, then it might be a bit of a struggle. But if there's only like 1 or 2 where you're like you're not interested, then it's like you can get through those and then enjoy the rest.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have anything to add or no?
So if you guys have like any elect questions that still haven't been answered, feel free to write it in the chat. Mm-hmm. And Sarah, you want to check your messenger? Andrew is saying something.
Oh, is he? Okay. Let me see her. Another question while I'm looking for this. Do you guys want to compare like Tron, Elec, and software? Do you guys want to like talk about main differences?
I don't really know all too much about Tron. So I can't speak so much for Tron, but electrical, we for sure, we do circuits and we do a lot more like physics, like electromagnetism, at least second year so far, than software does. So software for sure does not get that exposure into that side of things. While of course software does go a lot more into depth about actual coding and the behind of everything. So yes.
I think Tron is a little bit more of everything. So personally, one of the reasons why I didn't choose Tron is just because there was a lot of everything. So on top of the biomedical specialization, that it just be a lot of different content of different places. So you do learn a lot of different things. You do take Eng-Phys courses. You take, I don't know if you take electrical courses, but there's similar concepts to what you would take in electrical, and you take software courses. But I found that there was a lot of different things that it would be hard to find a common ground and a connection between them. So electrical, you still do some like robotic stuff and you still do the coding, but it's a little bit more focused.
So as I said before, if anyone has any question, you can write it in the chat. We have Danny asking a question. Can you compare Elec to Eng-Phys? So I think from seeing my friends who are like in Eng-Phys, we do kind of like a lot of similar courses with like digital circuits and like analog circuits. And they also like they take quite a number of circuit courses from my knowledge. But like overall, I think they do have more theory than we do, probably. If anyone else wants to add on that.
Yeah, my knowledge to it is very similar to yours, just off of friends. And it's very similar to what you were saying. Mostly, I'd say that they are a lot more like theory, and they do a lot more like theory about physics, hence the EngPhys.
I would say
Yeah.
too, they go into they do a lot more things, but we go into more depth about how things work because they kind of learn about them. But in terms of like the actual components, we do have a better like from what I've understood from my friends that we do more in-depth, detailed analysis of the circuits and that kind of stuff compared to what they do. They do learn more like theory stuff, but we do more understanding of the analysis and like kind of applications of them.
And
Yeah.
also, the EngPhys live stream starts at 8 after us, so you guys can just stay on and ask them any other questions that you have about EngPhys, because obviously we don't have the best base in that. But if you guys have any like specific electrical questions, we can for sure answer those. Do you guys have the spreadsheet open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions?
So
Do you wanna, like,
I think one question that was repeated quite a number of times is how's the elect community?
Mhm.
So most of like second year we do take classes with computer engineering students as well. So roughly in first semester, all the classes I believe are mixed. So it would be electrical and computer, and class size would be like around 300 students. In second semester, I think we branch off in like one course or two, where it would be like purely electrical and like purely computer engineering. But I feel like my experience with the stream or like the department EC in general has been really good. Like everyone is like super nice, and after like the first couple of weeks in like first semester of second year, you're gonna get like your own like kind of group, and that's gonna be like your group for the next 4 or 5 years.
It's nice too because electrical does end up being one of the streams where a lot of iBios actually go into. So this year we have quite a bit of iBios in second year that are in electrical. So it's really nice because you kind of have those people that you already know in your classes, and it's really nice because you can go to them for help and like do your labs with them. So that's the part of it that I really like.
Yeah, and definitely like the more you put yourself out there, the more of a community you'll feel like you have. So like just joining a lot of clubs and things like that, and like getting yourself involved and putting yourself out there, you're definitely gonna meet more people. But yeah, it is kind of cool because we're kind of like two streams in one. Like we take courses with comp eng kids and elect kids. So like that's when you'll feel like you're in a big group. But then when you kind of branch off into just elect courses, you definitely feel more of like a tight-knit community, I would say. But yeah, if you just put yourself out there and like join clubs and stuff like that, it's definitely easy to meet people in the stream.
We had another question in the group chat.
Okay.
I lost it. Hold on. So
Is it with a lot?
Sorry?
No, it's okay. I was gonna read the question in case you missed
Okay, you can read it.
Go ahead.
No, you can read it. I lost it.
All right. So with a lot of courses having lab components, do you still have enough time to pursue your own interests?
That was the question, yeah. So I would say yes, you do. As you were saying, I think before Yasmin was saying, like it's very structured and scheduled. So you do still have like you'll have your labs at specific times, but there is still areas to get around it and do things you're interested in. It is a lot of work. So you will end up having to spend a lot of time doing your work, but you can still do your activities. Like I said, I think I showed some of the first years, like I was building my purse or whatever, so I decided to take up leatherworking. So you do have time to do stuff. It's more about time management and figuring out how to study and when's best to study for you, so that you can figure out if you have time. Otherwise, yeah, time management's the key, I think.
And then we have another question. Oh, you guys actually no, never mind. Go ahead. If you guys have anything else to add.
No, I'm good.
No, I pretty much agree with that.
Me too. So our next question is, what are some of the high-level applications that you learn in electrical engineering? So for example, software, you learn about the process to develop an entire software product. So it's not just coding. I think I do not have an answer to that.
I would say probably like we learn basically in 2SI4, you learn a lot of the algorithms and how to apply that. So that'd probably be like the process of actually making your code run better. I think in electrical, you focus less on writing the program to like run on your computer and more for it to run on like microcontrollers or other sort of hardware applications. So it's less focused on just the software and more integrating it with the hardware. So it's like focusing on how you get that code actually get like your motor to turn. And in 2DX4, you learn basically you take like C language and then you learn how to manipulate things at the bit level. And you also do assembly and kind of figure out how things work. So you do a lot of just programming, but it's also taking that code and then applying it to like hardware and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I just to add to that is like in second year you take a course 2SI4, which is data structures, algorithms, and discrete mathematics. And so in that one you learn a lot about just like basic algorithms that are used like throughout all software applications. And you learn about runtime and like how to make code efficient and stuff like that. And just like that I find is like something so applicable to like the workforce, and like even in class, like he'll be like, your job is not going to want you to have like an inefficient code, and so like we need to figure out ways to make it the most effective. So like just like those types of courses, like I find really applicable to like the workforce and like actually getting a job as an engineer. So yeah, that was a course I really liked as well.
So our next question is, have you joined any electrical engineering related clubs or activities outside of class? So I guess I can start. For me, I'm on the undergraduate summer research and engineering society, and I'm an electrical rep on there. I'm also in like on the iBioMed society as a second year elect rep. I also joined like non-engineering related clubs just because I like to branch out. So I'm also on like Healthy Haven, and we basically run like volunteer sessions for the Ronald McDonald House right outside of Mac, and we run fundraisers to like collect money, and then we can donate it to them. Also a Mac Eng ambassador, so like open houses. You probably, if I saw you in grade 12. Actually, there are a couple of you that right now in iBio who I saw in grade 12 in the Mac open house. So, damn. I think that's it for me.
For me, a more, maybe you could see it as a more electrical kind of applicable club. I'm in a club called McMaster Makers. So if you guys don't really know what that is, it's basically a club that organizes workshops that students can sign up in and learn like a variety of skills that are applicable and not just electrical engineering, but several streams, or even for people that aren't in engineering to learn those types of skills and actually apply them to a project. So basically we just organize those workshops and realize them.
I guess I can say what I'm in. I'm on the ECE Society, which I think I mentioned before. I'm also on the BEAM, so Bioengineering at McMaster Society. If you guys have heard of that one as well, that's kind of just for everyone and kind of like the iBio Society, but includes the Chem Bio and old Elect Bios. And then I also volunteer at the Ronald McDonald House, but in the hospital. So I do the Happy Wheels cart. So I take that around to like the different rooms and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And a few of my friends are actually on like the McMaster Hyperloop team, which is actually run by Dr. Backer, which is the prof that we were talking about that we all love. And I don't know if you guys have heard of like the Hyperloop. I honestly don't even know that much about it besides like the Elon Musk thing. Like I honestly don't even know. But a few of my friends are on that, and I think it's pretty heavy with elect kids, specific like because it's run by an elect prof. But yeah, there's like so many really, really cool clubs and opportunities to get involved with. Amanda?
I'm not really in any like applying clubs types things. I'm like the iBio ambassador. So I think a couple of you guys are too. So it's similar to like what Yasmin said. I would have seen a lot of you guys at the open house and talked about like electrical and that kind of stuff. Outside of that, it's not really related to electrical, but it kind of is. Like one of our first year projects that we did in DP4, I'm currently working on with my group. So there is some electrical components in that is like we're having to redesign the computer mouse. So that would probably be the closest thing. And I guess in that experience, we were able to get a prof who works at the School of Rehab Science on board, and then a neurosurgeon who is also one of the iBio mentors to come on board. So that'd probably be the closest thing. Otherwise, like yeah, I'd say that's the main thing. Like in terms of extracurriculars that I would do at least recently.
All right, I want to just add one more thing. There is also EcoCar if anyone's interested. It's also like mostly electrical and computer engineering students. I know a couple of my friends are on it. I don't know how it's structured exactly, so I can't tell you that much, but I know it's like heavily targeted towards electrical engineering students.
Yeah, there are a lot. Oh, sorry. There's a lot of other clubs that we didn't say that we aren't part of. But they are specifically, there's the EcoCar, solar car. There's like the noodles, like the rockets type thing. So if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff too, there's a lot of other clubs that you can gain interest. And then also there's the IEEE student group, which I don't think any of us have mentioned. But they do a lot of workshops, and you can also join that club. And they offer basically like kind of almost like a membership to the IEEE. And it's one of like the world's largest professional organizations, so it's kind of fascinating.
Mm-hmm. So one of the questions asked, is there any opportunity to continue with CADing in electrical? I guess for second year courses, we didn't have to do any CADing, but for me, because I did my research in mechanical for like while I was studying, I was also doing research, and my research was mostly like CADing and researching. So I did have an opportunity to do CADing in second year, but usually if you are not doing any extracurricular stuff, you wouldn't have an opportunity to. I don't know about third year, so if you guys want to talk about third year.
Third year you do. So in 3P, you're back in the design studio, so it's very similar to what you guys would have done for DP3. So you will be doing, you not necessarily will, but you can be doing more CADing for your project. At the beginning of the year, we did this one, it was like Project Zero, and we had to make those little coffee temperature sensor things. So that was kind of like a getting back into CADing. As you go up, I'd probably say in electrical itself, you may not do as much CADing, and you do more coding and hardware stuff. But in the iBio courses, if you're still interested in CADing, there will be opportunities for it.
Mm-hmm. And like there's always the opportunity to like pursue things that you're interested in. Like even if you want to do more programming and stuff like that, like there's totally the opportunity to do that on your own on the side. Like never feel boxed in by the stream that you pick. If you end up picking mechanical or something like that, you can still do software on the side and pursue your own projects and things like that. Like never feel limited to what you're being tested on in school, is what I would say for sure.
Also, last minute reminder, so we kind of have around 10 minutes left of the live stream. So if you guys have any last minute questions, please feel free to write it in like the chat window.
Yeah, it can be like electrical or just second year in general questions. But yeah, any questions you guys have, put them in the chat.
I think we pretty much covered all the questions that we have in the form.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody feels like we didn't touch enough on something, please let us know.
Mm-hmm. And do you guys want to leave our info somewhere? Like, should we write our info in the chat box, and then like if they want to reach out to us after, they can?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, feel
Yeah,
free
for
to
sure.
reach out to any of us and like send us a message or whatever about any questions that you have. It doesn't have to be specific to elect. Like it can be about choosing a stream or like just being in an upper year. And the EnchFizz live stream is at 8 o'clock. So please make sure that you guys go if you're interested. But do you guys have anything else you want to say?
I think that was it. Just make sure, yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. And if we can't answer it, we can find somebody that can. And yeah, even if you have any questions, yeah, just in general, you can always reach out to the upper years because we've gone through it, so we know kind of what to expect. So it's like the best foot forward for kind of getting a glimpse of what you guys would be doing in the future.
Maybe we can end off on a kind of nice little key takeaway from what we've learned being in upper years of elect. So personally, I would say that elect is really nice because you're able to really nicely actually apply what you learn as you learn it. And it is one of the programs that personally I find has a really good application to the biomedical field. And not only that, it has a really nice community. You learn some comp bench, which is something I really enjoyed. And it has really, really great faculty and professors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really like I find the perfect balance of hands-on and theoretical. And yeah, again, like the people are all really great, the profs are awesome. And there's so many different ways that you can get involved with like technical clubs and stuff like that and actually put what you're doing in class to like apply it. At the same time, we have a lot of like projects that we do in class, so it's really good balance. Do you guys?
I think for me, I don't regret this decision at all. I'm very happy that I feel like I was kind of like going in, I was very stressed because I didn't do so well in EO3. But like, keep in mind, EO3 kind of combines a lot of like aspects and key things that you will learn about in electrical engineering in second year, but it's not going to be in like one course. Like the circuits aspect, you're going to be learning about it first semester, like with a little introduction. And then second semester, you're going to build more on those circuits. And then you're also going to be doing like a separate course for electromagnetism. So it's not as like heavily packed into one course where you're forced to like learn something very quickly. No. And the profs are amazing. They go through it step by step and they're always there for office hours. So my number one like advice for you guys, no matter what stream you choose, is definitely go to profs office hours. They're really nice. They may seem intimidating during class, but they're actually not.
One thing that I just thought of as you were talking about comp bench courses, I'll just throw in quickly, because I know outside of the live stream, I've had a couple people ask, but if you're interested in like computer engineering, then electrical is also something you want to do, because computer engineering isn't actually one of the choices that you can do, but in electrical engineering, you basically take all of the exact same courses with minus the fact that you take a different electromagnetic course. So basically, if you are interested in any kind of computer programming, or even just in general circuits and hardware, then electrical is a good choice for you. Going on that and what you guys were saying now, I do think electrical was a good choice. Not only does it have a good solid base in courses in the biomed courses that you take in upper years, but as they said, the profs are really sweet, and they're really helpful. As you said, Backer, he's amazing. Even other profs who they haven't said. I know there was one, and his name was Jermic. A lot of people were kind of about him, but when you get to know them, they're actually really nice, and like when you talk to them, they actually do care about you. And I know I've said before to a couple people, like I was sick when I wrote my exam, and I did awful on it, and I went to go talk to him after the fact, and then he was able to bump my grade up because you went and talked to him. So they really do understand where you're coming from and like what your situations are. So even though you're in a big program, you're not in a big program. And as one prof, who's Dr. Hadara, said, it's like you kind of have this whole community around you supporting you. You may not realize it, but you do have a big network of people around you that are kind of rooting for you, getting through it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so thanks so much, guys, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We'll leave our information here. And yeah, make sure you go to the EngFizz live stream if you're interested in seeing it. But thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. So
Thank
good
you.
to hope it was helpful.
Good
Hi,
luck.
guys.
Don't stress.
I just
Bye.
wanted to say thank you to these reps for taking time out of your day to kind of provide your opinion, your perspective on the electrical stream. I'm sure the students really appreciate it. So yeah, with that said, again, the EngFizz live stream will be happening in the EngFizz channel just after this. So if you're interested in EngFizz as well, which I would assume a lot of you are because they're quite similar streams, feel free to hop on to that channel. And yeah, as you can see, the reps have left some information in the comments. So feel free to connect with them however you see fit, and we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.